Hey, it's Watch Complications. I'm Brian. Thanks so much for checking out the video and the channel. Think about subscribing, hit the bell if you want updates. If you want to look at all things watches, check out the website watchcomplications.com and follow me on Instagram at watch_complications. This video is going to give a detailed overview of the WatcheePro app, which Ansi and I just released in December. We spent most of our December and lead up really in November to that. We've been working on it hard. We released the application and I want to just give a walkthrough of all the new features that come along with WatcheePro. Quick wrist check today. I'm wearing my Timex 3 GMT. I'll throw up a picture of that and a link to my review, which was just a few weeks ago. Take a look at that if you haven't. And if you're looking for a nice budget quartz GMT watch, that's about as simple as one as you can get on the market. Timex 3 GMT. I think you can see the whole theme today. You got my shirt on from Vario. I hashtag watch addict. Whether you're new to the channel or you're looking for a watch collection app to help manage your watch collection, those of you who've been around for a while already know my day job is that of a computer science professor. I have a doctorate in information systems. I am a programmer, and it's just what I do, along with all of this watch stuff that has crept into my life and become a second job. But I've taken my love and my enthusiasm for watches, and so has Ansi, who is my co-conspirator with the Watchee apps. He started this. They were his apps initially. A year ago, we got to know each other. We're both enthusiasts and programmers, so I started helping with development. So we're both working together to develop the Watchee apps. Particularly, we focused on this new version called WatcheePro. This really is where profession meets interest, and we've done a lot of work, and we like to give back to that watch community, and this is just one way we've done it. And it's not like we make a bunch of money off of it or anything like that. It's really, we'll never earn back the number of hours and time and energy put into it with money. So that's not really what it's about, and really what watch collecting is not about either, at least my opinion. So hope you all enjoy it. We've already given away some free copies of it, but I'm going to give away another one. So look in the description below. You'll find a link to a Google form. Enter it if you have an iOS device and don't have WatcheePro yet and you want a free copy. Fill out the Google form and I'll do a random drawing and you might get a free copy and save yourself $8.99 US. Keep in mind the Watchee apps are for iOS only. There's no Android version. Sorry, it's just something we haven't done to this point. But if you have one of the new Macs that's based on Apple Silicone, and if you haven't read about that or not a computer person, that's okay. Apple has enabled the ability for iOS apps to run on macOS on newer Apple Silicone Macs. These are systems with the M series of processors. So we have turned on the capability to have the Watchee apps on macOS if you have one of the newest versions of a Mac computer and the latest operating system, which is Big Sur. So it is for iOS/new macOS on the new computers. And if you do run Watchee on macOS, keep it in portrait mode. Landscape might look a little bit weird with WatcheePro. Looks okay with Watchee Lite and Watchee, but just keep in mind that Watchee is an app that's meant to be viewed in portrait, not landscape. And along with that, as we go through this video, what's going to be a little bit odd, a little bit out of the ordinary is that we're going to be flipping the video to portrait mode. I know YouTube is landscape, so we're going to be looking at a little bit of a different type of a screen layout than we usually have in these videos on Watch Complications, but it's what we've got. If you want to get a comparison of the three versions and more information about the app, what's coming, different features, go to watcheeapp.com. I'll put that link in the video as well, and you can see all things about these applications, but focusing specifically on the new features in WatcheePro in this. So let's get to it. There are three versions of Watchee. You can see them all here on my phone. We're going to spend our time today specifically focused on WatcheePro, but there is Watchee Lite. You can see in the lower left of my screen. That's available on the App Store for free. It does limit you to 3 watches, but allows you to get familiar with the app. There's regular Watchee, which some of you might be familiar with. I've put information about this in my blog and on the channel before, so it's sort of a real basic view. Looks a little bit more old school, but that's available for $2.99. That price has dropped once we introduce WatcheePro, which is $8.99 US on the App Store, and that's what we're going to focus on today. I will point out that you can have all three versions of Watchee on your phone. They are independent of each other. So if you're a current user of Watchee Lite or Watchee, you can download and install WatcheePro. Their databases are independent of each other, so you can have all versions simultaneously. If you add a watch in Watchee, it doesn't automatically get added to WatcheePro as well. They are completely independent. Also want to emphasize here at the beginning that all of the data associated with your watches is stored locally on your phone only. It is not uploaded to cloud or servers or anything anywhere. We do not have access to that information. No one does. It doesn't get shared with anyone unless you share it. So it's your watch collection, your data on your phone. I will mention I am on an iPhone 11 Pro. If you have a larger phone, one of the Max versions, you're going to have a little bit of a wider plate. There will be a little bit less space between the plates and a little bit more room in the overall layout just because it's a wider screen. So keep that in mind as we go through this. I want to walk through the features and the interactive elements of WatcheePro in a methodical sort of a way. I'll point out sort of what exists currently in Watchee as well, but what's new in WatcheePro. I'll start with the menu at the top, and then we'll get into the plate design and watch information. And kind of throughout, I'll touch on different settings you can turn on and off, and then we'll look at some of the other stuff in the bottom menu toward the end. So first thing is sort. If you look at the file folder in the upper left, you tap on that, there are lots of sort options. One of the newer ones we've added is wear date. That's one I like to view because it will sort your watches by what you've worn most recently. That goes very well with a feature we introduced in Watchee not too long ago, but is also in WatcheePro, and that is to fade unworn watches over time. So as days go by, the watches slowly fade until you almost can't see them anymore, meaning you might want to wear that watch, or maybe it's time to get rid of it. Let's go back to the watch list. You can see I've worn my Pagani and Rolex in the last day or two, but then the watches start to fade a little bit as I scroll down the list. So this sort and this feature sort of pair really well together, and I get down to watches that I either don't have yet or that I haven't worn in a long time that are incoming. So I like that particular option. Wear rate is also another one that I like to view my watches in. Lots of sort options. When you add a watch to the collection, you can put in various photos. A lot of times it might be a dial picture, maybe a case back picture, maybe a lume picture. But you can have multiple pictures in here, and there's a third one that we put in automatically. This is a nice visual of the main specs of the watch. When you click these circular arrows, you're going to get a simultaneous rotation for all of your watches of the first and second pictures that you have set. If you have them set, if not, it'll show the default pictures, so you can see that behavior there. If you tap on the open book icon at the top, you'll get watch collection summary information, total number of watches in your collection, total number of sold watches. The sold watches are not included in the first number, watches in collection. You can see the total cost of watches in the collection, might be a scary number. And then you have a few totals for your sold watches. You can kind of see if you're, ahead or behind on your overall incoming and outgoing values in the collection. Then you have some overall important averages like diameter, thickness, lug to lug, and a new field we've added in WatcheePro, total weight of watches. There is a weight field now in the watch details. So watch collection summary, there's the WatcheePro icon logo at the center. That doesn't do anything. You have the crisscrossed arrows, which this is a feature that also exists in Watchee. Let's say you can't quite pick what to wear on a given day, so you'll give it a tap. This says, okay, you want to wear the C1 Morgan Arrow 8. If you want to wear it, just go ahead and hit wear today, and that'll update the wear stats for that watch. If you aren't really feeling that one today, you can always hit draw again. So that's your shuffle, right? Sort of random picker if you can't figure out what you want. And then there's the plus sign, which adds a new watch to the collection. Now, whether you're editing an existing watch or creating a new one, once you've entered or updated any information, remember to hit the save button in the upper right. If you just click to go back to the watch list, then it doesn't auto save. That's a feature I think we're going to build in the near future. But right now, if you update or enter information, make sure you hit the save button in the upper right. Now, most of the information in the watch details exists in regular Watchee for those that are current users, but there are some new fields. We've added number of jewels and lift angle. We've also added the weight field. You can still enter up to 6 complications. This is quite a comprehensive list of complications, but if you come across something that we don't have, feel free to send us a message and let us know. Then we have the ownership information, purchase, price, and sales information, and then open text field for notes in the history log. So a lot of that's the same, but a few new things have been added. Now with an existing watch in the collection or a new one that you add, there are a couple of new things you can set in WatcheePro. So let's add just an example here. I'm just going to call this watch. I'm going to hit the save button. This is organized by wear rate, and I've just added this, so it should be at the bottom of my list. Here it is. So let's go into the watch, and you'll see a few new items that don't exist in Watchee. The watch and movement origins along with a genre or category. So let's say this watch was manufactured, or the brand is based in the UK. So let's go down to the United Kingdom. You can see it enters the flag for that. But say the movement is a Swiss movement. So let's go down to Switzerland, and we can see that flag is entered there. Let's say it's a dive watch. We're going to click on this question mark, which is the watch genre, and let's say it's a diver. We have some beautifully drawn designs for the different types of watches, and let me just show you a few. There's diver and there's dress. If you want to say this is a field watch. So these kind of visually tell you what type of watch we're dealing with. A lot of watches will fall into multiple categories, like you could have a diver that's also a micro brand. You could choose whichever you want, however you want to visualize it, motorsports, all kinds of fun stuff here, and we will be adding to these, but we've got most of the main ones here already. So those are new to WatcheePro. Notice we've updated some of the other visuals as well, like the Wear Today button. If we were to wear this watch, we can just hit confirm, and you can see the wear count. We've updated the badge visualizations. You can see we've tried to make things consistent visually, which is a lot different than the way Watchee works. That's your first wear badge, and then you'll earn others as you wear the watch while you've got it in your collection. The status plates are something that hasn't changed since Watchee, but might in the future. I'll just set that to keeper for fun. Now, just to mention that some of the other things that exist in Watchee as well, as we scroll down, you can reset the wear stats. You can either clear them out, or let's say I've worn this watch 5 times and I forgot to enter it. I can adjust the wear count. Let's say submit a new wear count like so. That'll pop it up a little bit further in the list since it would have a higher wear rate, and that's how this is being sorted. Okay, and I can go back into the watch and I can reset the stats as well back to 0. So confirm wrist stats reset. You can see that is now set back to the default 0 and the worn information gone. And we still have the ability to export beautiful looking PDFs, whether you are looking for printouts for insurance purposes or maybe posting a watch for sale. A couple different layouts, including the pictures for the watches and all the information about them. So the PDF export is a feature that is also in Pro. There's a new section though called Watch Plate Design, in which you can set 4 different characteristics about the way the watch looks in the watch list. You can see I've got lots of different combinations here. Let's go back down here to our new watch. So the 4 things you can change about the plate design are the plate itself, the crown, the info frame, and the font color. With the variety of colors we have in each of these, there are thousands of combinations so that you can give some personality to each watch. Its collection, you can match colors to the case, to the dial, to the hands, or other things that just look good together. We can click on plate style. The default is going to go to steel for all of these, even if you haven't selected one yet. Let's say this is a Casio that has a black resin case, so I'm going to choose a black plate. Perhaps the dial is a dark blue color, so I want to take the crown, I'm going to set that to dark blue. Info frame, let's say the watch has white hands, so I'm going to set it to a white frame. And since I chose a black plate, I'm going to choose white font color, and you can see there's a black with white shadow. There's also a white with a black shadow, but I'm going to choose just regular white. Then we'll go back and look at our plate design, and you can see that updates to what we've set. Just as an example, I have this DMC watch. The seconds hand is orange, so I've put the info frame as orange, crown is steel, and the plate's black. So you can set these to characteristics of the design, the watch. You can see them, the gold, the brass, the bronze, red on the dial. Maybe I use that for the info frame. You can match straps to the colors. So here's a couple examples of me going off of the strap colors I've chosen for watches. Lots and lots of options to give your watches personality and make your collection visually pop when you look at it. Just another fun thing you can see with the bronze watch, I have my Christopher Ward
Trident Bronze Ombre, we have different levels of patination. So for example, I currently have the plate is bronze with a heavy patina. You can do just a regular bronze. I have heavy patina. There's a massive patina. Get a lot of green on there. You can see that looks kind of fun. And we have the same thing for the crown. I'm going to choose the bronze patina crown, and I'm going to switch this back to my heavy patina, which is the one I like. Notice, for example, I don't have the patina frame. You can just really make it look individualized. So this plate design is really one of the main features that differentiates WatcheePro from the regular version. Now, when you want to delete a watch, you just swipe to the left and then hit delete and confirm, and that watch is now gone. So now I want to talk about the information on each of these plates. You can see that we have the watch origin and category / genre showing in the upper left. We have wear rate in the lower left, and we have main information next to the photo. And we have the info frame that has things like wear count, the version of WatcheePro, power reserve, and we'll talk about each of those things. But let's go to settings. There's a lot of flexibility here to view the things you want based on your personal preference. Some people may not want to see the wear rate, so let's turn that off and go back to our watch list. You can see that the wear rate is now gone. I personally like seeing it. You may want to hide your sold watches, so you can turn that on and off. I don't need to see my sold watches, so I usually have that turned on so they're hidden. Then there's this show technical details by tapping the cogs in the upper right corner. That's why I wanted to come in the settings list. Notice on the plate in the upper right there are 3 gears, cogs. If you tap on that, you'll get watch technical info. So it's essentially a summary of most of the main specs for the watch. So you don't necessarily have to go into the watch view in order to see the basic information about it. So those cogs in the upper right are clickable if you have this turned on. Show the keeper rate and seller button. That is our chronograph pusher on the plate. If I turn this off, you'll notice that goes away. This was a different button. It was a K or an S depending on whether you have sold the watch or not in Watchee, and we've just redesigned it with a more fun visual look in WatcheePro. I want to keep that on. So you can see it looks like a chrono pusher. When I push down, it will go down, and then it will give me a comparison between this watch and some of my collection averages. Like this is a diameter of 40 millimeter, my collection average is 40.8. So you're seeing percentages as it relates to your overall collection. From in here, you could also click on keeper rate, which is sort of one of our fun features we put in Watchee that essentially tells you, based on the specs of this watch compared to your averages, how much of a keeper is this watch, or should I consider getting rid of it? So you can see the diameter is 40 millimeter. That matches up pretty close with my overall collection average. So the keeper rate there is pretty high, 97.9. There are some aspects that might be a little bit different, like the color, the wear count, etc. But if your keeper rate average overall is above 50, probably one you're going to be hanging on to for a while. If it's less than 50%, probably one that you're going to be considering selling at some point. But you can look at each of these elements sort of specifically. So that's the chrono pusher. It gives us into some more comparative information about this watch versus the overall collection. Then we have the info frame, which you can see on the bronze watch is currently showing the version of WatcheePro. So this will tell you what version of the app you're using, and this cycles through information. So as I tap it, I'm going to get things like wear count, the status. This is a keeper. Very much so. Power reserve, the VPH, this is 28.8, the number of joules, and then we get back to the beginning where we started. You can cycle through all of these independently. For some, you might have, okay, displaying the wear count. The version of the app we're using, my CW Morgan Aero 8 here, has a power reserve of 120. It's a lot more than normal, so I'm showing that. So that's another fun feature. You can tap on that info window and cycle through. The other really fun interactive feature of WatcheePro is the crown, which you can see has WP, WatcheePro, and you can tap on that and it cycles through information about the watch. Brand and model information, purchase and sell information, accuracy if you've run accuracy measurements on those, any service information. So you tap on the crown and see main information. You might notice that as I tap and turn the crown, the cogs in the upper right also turn. It's a fun visual way to cycle through information regarding your watches. Just to show you an example, I have one watch that's in service right now. It's my Arm & Strom. It's not completed yet, but as I cycle through here and I get to the service information, you can see when it went in for service, it's not done yet. I've already marked it as done, but it's not. So that's showing its status as in service as well. So there are 4 interactive elements with each of your watches so that you don't necessarily have to go into the watch details to take a look at what's going on with the watch. You can see most everything here on the main watch list by using the watch details, the chrono pusher, the info window, and the crown, and cycle through all of that information. A fun, interactive way to both manage, maintain, and view your watch collection information. Let's take a look at some of the other settings. We already mentioned the fading of unworn watches. We've carried over badges from Watchee, but we've made them visually consistent. So let's take a look at those. I'll mention I'm on an iPhone 11 Pro. Once you turn badges on, it takes up most of that real estate at the top. You can see if you're on a Pro Max or something with a larger screen, you'll have a little bit more space. The plates will be a little bit wider and there'll be a little bit less gray space between them on some of the larger screens. So after the watch origin flag and the category, we have 4 other badges displayed. The first 3, the cog, the arrows, and the cylinder, relate to you entering complete information in your watch details. Once you've entered complete information, you will see these symbols. If you only have partial information entered, you will see percentages. So this Casio MRW200H, I haven't quite entered all the information about the watch and the movement, but I've entered everything about the dimensions so I can see the arrows. And then after that, we have the wear badge. You can see all of these have their first wear badge, but the next level is 30 wears. You can see my Marlowe Moore Sands is getting close. When that hits 30, I'll get that particular badge. Some people might like to see these, some people might not. These look visually consistent. They look a lot different in the regular version of Watchee, and that's one of the things we've done with WatcheePro is make this interface look more consistent across the board and visually appealing, so that it looks a bit more modern in terms of looking at your collection. But you can turn badges on and off. You can also show ownership duration, which puts a number of days, months, or years that you've owned the watch in the upper right corner of the picture. So you can see how many years you've owned it or months you've owned that particular watch. So that's another setting option for you. If you have an active accuracy measurement, you will see a little pocket watch symbol in the lower right of the picture. So if I started running an accuracy measurement, let me start one of these just to show you what that looks like. Let's pick the one at the top, so the Moore Sands. Let's choose that watch, and I'm just gonna hit start and confirm. So this has an accuracy measurement in progress. I'll go back to the thing, and now with the accuracy running, you can see which watches you might have an accuracy measurement going for by seeing that little symbol in the lower right of the picture. Whenever I stop that particular measurement, let's say, finish measurement, save result, I can go back to my watch list and you'll see that little icon go away. So there's a way of knowing which watches you have accuracy measurements going for. Speaking of the accuracy, you can just delete those by swiping. Again, hit the plus sign if you want to start an accuracy measurement. So that's a great feature. You might have a separate app for that, but we have accuracy built right into WatcheePro. As in Watchee, WatcheePro also has all the notifications. That's for reminding you to enter the watch that you've worn on a given day, letting you know that you have long-running accuracy measurements going on if they get past certain thresholds. So for example, the wear notifications notify you if watches have been worn for certain amounts of time. There's other sort of fun stuff, watch anniversaries, Watchee tips, expiring warranties. A lot of flexibility and control about what type of notifications you get. You can turn the history log on, so as you do certain things with the watch or hit certain thresholds regarding wears or other information, it will automatically log that for you. If you have a large collection, certainly over 50 watches, but even if you have, let's say, over 20 or more, image compression is something that can help the app run a little bit faster and ensure that other weird things don't start happening with the phone overall, just because of the size and the memory being taken up by watch images. Now, Watchee has always had an export collection feature, which exports your collection information to a CSV file. That's a comma separated value file. What most people know as a spreadsheet, which can be opened with a common spreadsheet programs like Excel or Google Sheets. And the file has most of the items from your collection, including wear counts, but it doesn't contain the images, watch notes, accuracy measurements. So there is some stuff that doesn't get exported, but it's another way to visualize or look at your watch collection information. WatcheePro has added the import collection feature. So if you're a current Watchee user and you want WatcheePro, you buy it and you download it, and you don't want to re-enter all of your watch information, you could do it manually if you want to, but probably don't want to. You can export from Watchee and then import that CSV into WatcheePro. Or if you're changing devices or installing WatcheePro on a new device, you can export from WatcheePro and import into WatcheePro, let's say on a different device. If you wanted all of the information about Watchee, along with all your other applications saved and restored, you can always do iCloud backups of iOS and do restores, and that will copy everything over. But most people using the import feature are going to be current Watchee users who want to transfer their collection information from the regular version of Watchee to WatcheePro, or as we'll see in future releases, people moving from one iOS device to another where you want to export everything from WatcheePro and import it into WatcheePro. You can see what things get imported. It just reads from the CSV file. So again, images aren't included, accuracy measurements and stuff, but all of the main watch detail information is there. Really useful new feature. I've used this already a lot myself. Export, import, very important features with WatcheePro. We've already talked a little bit about accuracy, and there's also, you can keep track of your services. You can see my gravity water is in service right now. One more new feature we've added in WatcheePro is the Timegrapher Data. A couple things to note. This is for mechanical watches, and the WatcheePro app is not acting as a timegrapher. It is a place where you can store Timegrapher data that you've measured on an actual timegrapher, and you want to save it in the app. This is a type of feature that's for, say, super enthusiasts who want to have this kind of information detailed about their watches, or for maybe people doing watch repair, watch work, and they're taking timegrapher measurements in 4, 5, 6 positions, and you want something that will automatically compute the averages and deltas for these measurements. So you can see we've noted with visualizations the 6 different positions: dial up, dial down, crown up, crown down, those sorts of things. The rate, the amplitude, and the beat error, and you can see that the average and deltas are computed automatically for those. So let's say we want to store some new Timegrapher data. I've got a watch on the Timegrapher right now. Hit the plus sign, and I'll pick the watch I want to do this for. We'll just choose the Arm & Strom, and then you can choose whether the watch is fully wound or whether it's been 24 hours since it was fully wound. So we can choose a status. So we just hit save, and then you can tap on that Timegrapher section for that watch and start entering rate, amplitude, beat, error for the 6 positions. Now the way this works, if you have the rate to enter, you just tap in that window, and then you set the values, whatever they are, and then move on to amplitude. Again, just tapping in those windows to enter those values. And then you'll see the averages computed as you go through adding the positions. Whenever you want to change to the next position, just tap the crown. So the crown rotates through the 6 positions, and you can enter all of the values. And then when all is said and done, you can go back and view the overall measurements for that external Timegrapher data. To delete, just swipe to the left, click delete, and confirm. So you can see I did some Timegrapher measurements on my Feynman Timekeeper's One Eye Panda, and it's got a top grade ETA, so you can see it's pretty good, particularly with the amplitude, beat error, and everything. So this looks really, really good, the averages and the deltas. But you can go into this and then change those if you need to, rotate through them. Got some nice visualizations for you. So Timegrapher Data, great new feature of WatcheePro. So WatcheePro is really a new way of managing your watch collection, giving some personality to each watch and the overall collection, whether you want to share it with others, making decisions for yourself about the direction of your collection. But it really is a comprehensive app that gives you lots of variety and choice for how you want to manage your collection. Let's check out.
Honestly, and I really like to think of WatcheePro as a watch app with personality. You can really give character to your watches individually and as a collection overall. Just a great way to manage your collection and view everything about it. All the information is in the description below. Again, there's a link to a Google form. If you want a copy, you can enter for the giveaway for a free license, so you can download it for free from the App Store. If not, it's only a low $8.99. Regular Watchee's $2.99, and if you just want to get familiar with the app and kind of what's there, you can check out Watchee Lite for free. The sweat behind this video is really a labor of both Ansi and I. It's not just me on this particular thing. So thank you to everyone who's a fan. Join us in our Facebook group. We have a Fans of the Watchee app. If you want to talk directly to the developers, check us out on the Facebook group. You'll get to share with other users and us kind of what's going on and how you use the app, what you like, and other feature development you might want. So check us out. That link is in the description below as well. There's a link to the main website that details the features and the variations between the versions of the app. I also have other information on my main site, watchcomplications.com. Hope you've enjoyed the overview. Take a look at it. Subscribe, ring the bell if you want updates, and check me out on Instagram at watch_complications. I'm Brian. I am out.